Hello, this is What Once Was Mine, part 10. So normally I start at the beginning of a chapter. I did not do that this time. I had to stop. So, but let's, like normal, I'm on page 164, and the first sentence that I will be reading is, "Oops, wait, I'm supposed to delay you," she suddenly remembered. It is in the chapter of Rapunzel, but there's a lot of those chapters in this book, so that's it. Okay, moving on from what I've already read. "What? You're with Senior Engineer Ugly over there?" Ryder asked in shock. "Hold your ground," Gina told the Stabbington brothers in a clear, solid voice. "I need Flynn alive." "No one needs Flynn alive," the one without an eye patch said. "Mostly everyone needs him dead. Mostly us. Back off, I warn you. I'm on a paid job to take him into possession," Gina said. The two brothers looked at each other. Then they began to bark out loud, gashing, harsh, bark out loud, harsh guffaws. "Out of my way, wannabe," the one with the eye patch growled. He reached out a large paw-like hand and cuffed her hard. Gina didn't take the full force of the blow. She ducked at the last minute and spun on one heel. Then she dropped her arm and jammed the pommel of her weapon into the back of the large man's knee as hard as she could. He groaned like an angry animal, then the human in pain, and stumbled, landing hard on the other knee. The one without the eye patch grunted and tried to grab Gina by her braid. Rapunzel and Flynn had finally managed to disentangle themselves. She rose upright, uncertainly. He leapt onto his feet like cats were said to. It was hard to believe that Flynn was the same species of gender as the Stabbingtons. He was smaller, lithe, muscled but slim. Few to no scars, or at least only really fetching ones that accentuated his features. His face was built for all kinds of smiles, even cocky ones, like a grin he sported right now. His nose was not at all like in the posters. Oh, Rapunzel felt the warmth wash over her and had to stop herself from staring. Ew. What does that mean? Okay. Gina, still in the fight, kicked the other brother right in well, to be honest, Rapunzel didn't know the correct word for it, but it was apparently just as delicate, or maybe more so, than if her own, oh my god, why are we, intimate parts, because the man fell over with no sound except a sudden exhalation of all the breath in his body. This is, why are we, I don't understand. Okay. "Why, you little," the first one, Eye Patch said, getting up, but favoring his injured knee. With one beautiful following motion, Gina sprang away from him in a flip. As she righted herself, she grabbed a stone from the path, windmilled her arm, and released it. The sharp-edged missile sailed through the air. It smacked him just above his good eye. "Run," Gina commanded. "Will do," Rapunzel agreed. "Oh no, I thought we'd hang around and see if these boys are okay," Flynn suggested facetiously. The three took off, tearing down the path. Rapunzel pumped her arms and forced her legs to move as fast as her brain could manage, but barely kept up with other two. I don't know who you are, Flynn said, huffing to Gina, but I think I love you. Oh my god. Rapunzel was surprised to feel herself miffed by this, despite her obvious casualness with which it was said. Wasn't she the pretty distraction in the road? Gina said nothing, a grimace on her face that was maybe a smile. All too soon came the unmistakable sounds of the large men getting up, running after them, and roaring. Were they actually roaring in anger? Okay, at least they think it's comical too. I hope there's another part of your plan to rescue me, Flynn said. Maybe one that involves horses or cannons or small fortress. It involves a lot of running and hiding, Gina admitted. Same old, Flynn said disappointingly. Rapunzel stumbled and pitched forward with a violence she didn't expect. Without missing a beat, Flynn turned and grabbed her, keeping her mostly upright. The first ever touch from a boy, and it burned, and it was probably going to leave bruises on her wrist. Rapunzel felt cheated somehow. Okay. Here, Gina suddenly commanded, diving off the path deeper into the forest. Yeah, let's go someplace less populated so they can murder us in a complete peace and quiet, Flynn muttered. But he followed her and Rapunzel after him. They were on what Rapunzel was pretty sure was a game trail, not a person on a horse or a cart trail. It was narrow and wobbled from side to side in shallow arcs, like the pace of something not used to going in perfectly straight lines, something small and not human. Tolson's Rock? Flynn moved. Flynn asked. Why did I read moved? I don't know. Gina shook her head. Too obvious. Bear Knoll. Too many bears. What about the barrows? They both cried at the same time. Rapunzel felt a surge of confidence. Although things had gotten a little dangerous, she'd obviously fallen in with the right company. They knew what they were doing and were familiar with the area. And really familiar with running away and hiding, it seemed. Now that they had a destination, Flynn ran up alongside Gina and began to pass her. Gina frowned and pushed her speed. Rapunzel remained behind. She heaved and panted as her dress tore and she stumbled. She thought wearily about her initial enchantment with running on grass in the open. What it would be like to run forever seemed less charming now that she was actually doing it. Her two new friends suddenly pitched to their left, narrowly avoiding the edge of the deep rocky gorge that had a thin trickle of water in its very bottom. Rapunzel tried to stop herself, wavering at the top for a long moment, then started to tumble down into the ravine. As her arms flew out, she thought quickly and grabbed her long transport braid, throwing it up and out into the branches of the tree. Gripping it tightly, she swung, just avoiding scraping her rear of the pointy rocks below. As she began to pivot back up on her arching path, she yanked. Her braid came loose. She fell free, landing neatly on her toes, right in front of Gina and Flynn. They were silent, literally speechless and gaping at what she had just done. Without saying a word, Rapunzel methodically picked up her braid and wound it around her elbow and shoulder, firmly tucking it into place. What? Flynn began. How? Gina continued. Rapunzel shrugged. So, where are we going? She asked innocently. Um, I'm just trying. Why is that so cool? I guess I don't understand. Shit. I don't know. The burrows, you'll love it there. Lots of dark, damp hidey holes, often inhabited by haunted corpses, but usually avoided by superstitions. Unsavory types, Flynn said, except us. Gina said, "We're not unsavory," Flynn objected. "We're independent thinkers." They walked along the shallow green valley, which was cool and moist. Oh, that's gonna make some people angry, I'm sorry. Where the sides were too steep for grass. Soft walls of moss grew. Rapunzel couldn't stop herself from continually pressing her hands into them. Flynn gave Gina a look. "Long story," Gina said. "I think. I'm so sorry. I don't believe we've been formally introduced. My name's Ryder, Flynn Ryder." He made a courtly little bow. "We have been formally introduced several times," Gina said, glaring at him, at the snuggly duckling. "I'm Gina. And your lovely friend here. I'm Rapunzel," she spoke up, not liking being discussed in the third person. "Rapunzel, huh? Rapunzel of what?" "Oh, that's your title? Silverlocks? Oh, no. Blondie's great. Silverlocks. I really hope they don't stick with that. That sucks. That sounds disgusting." He indicated her dress, her hair, all of Rapunzel. That was not, oh, like her companions. "Who are you, really?" "I am the one who hired Gina to find you," Rapunzel said primly, trying to sound adult or professional or something. "Fair enough," Flynn said. "Secrets are trade in this line of work." They came to an end of the gorge, a hollow so perfectly rounded on one side. It had been man-made, or at least shaped with the half of man. Long ago, all the sharp and rocky edges had been smoothed with dirt, leaves, time. Rapunzel tried to save the image in her head, to paint later a sweet but lonely scene, a large tree sheltering it from above. Dug into the sides of the hollow were regular holes that were blackly into the earth like cells in a wasp beehive. Some had caved in or had their entrances filled with vines, marking a sort of formal entrance, were a pair of larger caves on either side of the bowl, gatehouses long missing their watchmen. "We'll hang out here for a while," Gina said, but her eyes glanced quickly to Flynn to see what the more experienced adventurer would do. He shrugged. "I don't have any pressing appointments anywhere, though I do need to visit a local branch of my bank and make a quick withdrawal at some point." "Ha ha," Rapunzel thought, unconsciously grasping her bag, more tightly feeling the edges of the crown. "If he only knew. And maybe you could tell me what this is all about. Why you need me, what exactly is going on." He sat down on the lichen-covered stone that tilted at an uneasy angle. Then he smiled and raised an eyebrow at Rapunzel, which made her feel uneasy. His eyes were light brown, like the dark honey that came at the end of the summer when the sumac and cereus bushes bloomed. His eyebrows were heavy and expressive, but it didn't overwhelm his face. His mouth kept falling to one side, and that smile, there was something a little fake about it, but also something a little endearing. Like he was trying very hard to suave and mysterious and didn't realize how obvious it was. Hey, Gina said loudly, interpreting Rapunzel's train of not really thought, man wants a story. Right. So Rapunzel cleared her head and took a deep breath. Once upon a time, in a lonely tower in the middle of the woods, a girl. Who's this? Flynn asked. Me, Rapunzel said, exaggerated. Wait, you lived in the freakish plague tower? Yes. Are you even listening? I and my mom lived there. Well, she lived there more when I was younger. Now it's mostly me. Also, there was no plague. She added. Those signs were put there to keep people away, I think. You lived by yourself in a tower your whole life? It could have come out sounding sarcastic or disbelieving, but there was a note of genuine horror in Flynn's tone. Like a prisoner? She started to say no, but stopped. She'd been literally sent to a tower for her crimes. Kind of. This is the first time I'd ever been down. I mean, outside. Whoa, Gina said. Rapunzel didn't like the looks of pity on their face. She'd been happy there, mostly, and it was all for everyone's good. There was nothing to pity for her. Anyway, it was all pretty much the same. Same things every day, same things at the window every season, except every year around now, beautiful glowing lights floated in the sky from somewhere northwest of here. You mean the lantern thing they do for the dead princess? Gina and Flynn asked. At the same time, Jinx, they both immediately said. This, it reads like a fan fiction. I don't know how else to say this. Oh. There, now you can see my face for. And, not in a good way. And I feel like it's gotten worse. I kind of liked it before, but it's gotten worse. Okay, and I know that's kind of the point of it, but I don't know. Buy me a pint, they shouted at the same time, pointing at each other. Then they began laughing. It sounds like a teenager wrote a fan fiction and put it on Wattpad or whatever, but that's at least how I see it. Wait, Rapunzel said, completely mystified. She did not like the way her two new friends were becoming friends, but she didn't love it either. Lanterns that float? Yeah, little candles in the paper lanterns. Make them rise up into the air, Flynn said with a shrug. They do it every year to commemorate the death of the Queen's only child. Oh, that's sad. All those years, all those things Rapunzel imagined the floating lights could be. She knew they weren't stars because they didn't stay. She knew they weren't meteors or comets because they went up, not down. Never did she guess it was a man-made phenomenon, well known at that, and for such a sad reason. Not a joyous marker for her birthday week after all. Well, she said aloud, I want to see them. I want you to guide me there, she added to Flynn. I could totally take you to see the lanterns, Gina protested. You don't need this guy. Absolutely true, Flynn agreed. You don't. This girl can take you. Afraid I'm not on good terms with the kingdom at the moment. What'd you steal this time? Gina asked interestedly. A crown. Nice one, too. Anyway, I'm not going anywhere near that place. And also, there's a lot of other things on my plate right now. The Stabbingtons are after me. I have to line up a buyer. Really, it's not a good time. You haven't even asked what I'll pay you, Rapunzel said innocently. You don't have enough, Flynn promised. Then he turned to Gina and saw a theatrical whisper. This is where she offers her necklace or bracelet or some other rich girl trinket I can pawn even if I wanted. How about a crown? Rapunzel suggested. Flynn grew very, very still. Uh-oh, Gina said with a wicked grin. What crown? Flynn asked casually. The one that you stole? The one that the Stabbingtons want back? The one that you hid, rather obviously, in a tree hollow? Rapunzel said smugly, crossing her arms. Diamonds, pearls, about my size? You you know that crown. That's my crown. Give it back. I stole it fair and square, Flynn cried, leaping up. You mean you stole it from the castle, or you stole it from the Stabbingtons? Gina asked interestedly. Doesn't matter, Flynn said, crossing his arms and setting his jaw childishly. It's mine now. Well, no, it's mine, Rapunzel said, at least until you take me to see the lanterns and home again. Then it's yours. You must have seen me hide it in the tree. Um, I don't know how to read that. It's in a different language. Deduction trace brilliante. The worst. Yeah, I speak English. Not a lot of Spanish. So I'm sorry. Rapunzel said awkwardly. Really? Gina asked, throwing her hand in the air, a lot like Mother Gothel when she was play acting exasperated anger. You're paying him a whole crown to take you to see the stupid lights? Well, I didn't have anything to pay you with, Rapunzel protested. You have a crown, Gina shouted. But it's not yours, Rapunzel said. See? Flynn nodded his head. You get it. Rapunzel added, I figured this crown would be worth a lot more to a guy who originally stole it and is being chased than, just anyone. Gina gave her a look. It's a crown, she pointed out, apparently one with diamonds and pearls. You could hire everyone at the Snuggly Duckling 10 times over for that. But the wanted posters imply that he's dangerous and a fugitive and Willie and just the sort of anti-hero I need to protect people from me. Rapunzel dug into her satchel, being very careful not to make any clinking noises around the crown, and pulled out the now very folded poster. Sorry, Gina. I just didn't know about you. No one does, Gina mumbled, kicking a stone. No way, Flynn swore, tearing the poster from Rapunzel's hand. I got my nose wrong again. This is the 5th time. What do I have to do? Pose for the royal guard? He held it up to his face and tried to copy the expression. Stop complaining, Gina snapped. Aw, I'm so famous that they print up so many pictures of my face. Getting them wrong, geez, tough life. All right, I'll do it, Flynn said with a forced world-weary sigh, ignoring Gina's completely. But only because my life is in danger and I really need that crown. And I get a share, Gina said. Why do you get anything? Flynn demanded. You're not taking the lady to see the lanterns. I led her to you, and I saved your life. Gina and Flynn glared at each other. Rapunzel now found herself wishing that her new friends were where they'd been 5 minutes ago, and they had been full of nothing but compliments and congratulations for each other. All right, Flynn said, rolling his eyes. A share. I'm such a softie. Yes, Gina whispered a little too loudly, pumping her fist in victory. Rapunzel wanted the exact ask exactly what a share of a solid crown meant, exactly a single diamond, a broken off flourish, but decided that since the two were now working together to get her to where she wanted to go, she wasn't going to complicate things by bringing it up. She was finally going to get to see the lanterns, and nothing could possibly go wrong.